Fact, I am still working on a unique career. My intent is to, 1. Rely on God's guidance and give Him credit. I've already proven I can't do this. If I make it, it's God, no question, as He works on me, and, 2. Have something that is very unique, but possibly trainable, as I did not have a coach in this field. Yet, I certainly needed one. I would offer to be one for those who want one. To me it is the dream job of no trial lawyers, no employees, and no boss other than the market itself. 3. Have that good kind of accomplishment, not the bad kind of pride that thinks I'm God, which rejects God, and I know a number of people like that, and they are all repulsive to be around. On a deeper level, when man's ego is bloated, and this is our tendency, when things are going good, the tendency is, I don't need you, God. This concept is all over the Old Testament. Equals the Israelites depend on God, get to doing good, then reject God. Then the Midianites or the Babylonians take them over, then they desperately call for God, God saves them, they do well, and then the cycle repeats. Same cycle is in all us humans personally. It's a self-reflective cycle. Equals we see it in those stories, so we can examine it in ourselves. Debbie married what she thought was security. When it looked precarious, she bolted. I had plenty of money, I just never had cash flow. Multiple reasons. I was not able to control the industry. Reasons: the highway construction market was just rotten, to quote Charles Hunter, Oprah strain. Others are that I have a self-sabotage tendency, absolutely. It is tied to self-love deficit disorder, which is the opposite of narcissism. I am working on it, prayerfully. Equals with God, not without Him. All healthy people are self-reflective. Equals, what's my end of error here? Debbie is not self-reflective. In my experience with her, every judgment she makes is a projection of herself, and how she is, that she accuses her target of being. Her demonization of her targets is a method of hiding, from herself and others, her own maladaptive issues, by projecting them onto her target. The reasons for this are complex. All narcissists are obsessed with controlling everything, including the narrative. Equals, the image to the world. Debbie's tactic is to demonize her target to keep the focus off herself. She's always been like that. I've never known her to be any differently. When I used to point this out to her, she was completely deaf to it as a possibility. The reason people lie to themselves like this, is because, 1, it's painful and humiliating to get honest with self, to see one's own issues, and, 2, it gives them a feeling of superiority, which then gives them in their own minds, justification to be a dictator, control freak, because of that superiority. It's a form of being righteous and superior by never being wrong, rather than being righteous by confession and repentance. Oma, like all narcissists, is obsessed with control of everything, including the narrative. Oma no longer controls the narrative. Like Debbie, Oma, and Oprah, focused on demonizing Carl Strain to throw folks off the scent of her own issues that need working on, aka, need for grace, and work on self. This is what Jesus did to the crowd who was about to stone the adulterous woman. He reminded them that they were in the same boat she was. That's why they began leaving, one by one, beginning with the oldest. The older we get, the more people, who are honest with themselves, realize what a long string of errors they have which need grace. Your mom tends to put things, guilt/shame/accountability, in my, or others, laps that is hers, not theirs. This is called projection. She is very good at it. She doesn't do this now and then, she does it regularly as an MO, it's how she operates. Has she trained our sons to think like this too? Since Brandon goofed off in high school and college, wasn't he blaming his dad for his own lack of effort, when he told me he wished I'd pushed him harder? His issue had nothing to do with himself, and everything to do with a blaming dad for his lack of self-push. It is a convenient self-exonerating way to think, but it is also very sick. And, to their targets, this form of accusing others of being wrong or in error, to hide one's own error, is a severe form of psychological abuse to those they blame, and lying to themselves. That error is Debbie herself and Brandon himself. Brandon has this trait like his mother. Same as I picked up on some of Oma's traits. To weed the unhealthy part of our parents out of ourselves, we have to see it in our parents first, incriminate it there, and then look for it in self. If we never incriminate it in our parent, we will never see it as needing working on in ourselves. Narcissistic women do not wear accountability for anything. They are always, and without exception, in their minds, victims. And the vicious demonization of their targets as the bad guy is what throws others, and their own minds, off the scent of their own incrimination, their own end of error. As a child and as an adult, I was my mother's scapegoat in her family. She projected onto me, to wear, her shame and guilt. For example, we were discussing which nieces and nephews needed to stay where, in the deer cabin or the main house, and I said, we need to separate the boys from the girls to avoid any regrettable hanky-panky, and she said, get your mind out of the gutter, and I felt shame. She shamed me. But my mind was in reality, and I was having very rational and healthy thoughts to avoid possible problems we'd all regret. That's healthy. But Oma was feeling guilt or shame about what happened in her own family with David, who sexually molested Martha and tried to rape Claire in later years. Oma feels responsible/shame/guilt for how David turned out, and she was projecting that onto me in that instance, I suspect. But back to the other point too, if you start feeling shame or guilt, that is yours, okay, fair enough. But if you feel it and can't untangle it because someone is projecting their crap onto you, and you sense this and need help untangling it, I have decades of hard-earned experience in this regard and can possibly be helpful for you. The practice of making everyone else wrong, so you can be self-justified and right, is what the Pharisees did, and it is a minefield of disaster, but it works in Oma's own mind, in Debbie's own mind, and it worked in the minds of the Pharisees.